right.
They're squeezing through. Sorry. It's tight quarters. All right. Missing one. There we go. We got a full house now. Thank you very much. All right. Josh, I'm going to hand it over to you. You can introduce the panelists.
So I'll introduce myself and let everybody introduce themselves. It's a nice packed house, really tight, very intimate setting, which is great. So I'm Josh Wetzel, run mobile for PubMatic. We're a platform that helps publishers, premium publishers, maximize and reach the full potential of all their digital assets. And I'll turn it over to these guys to make introductions.
Sure. Hi, I'm Pat McCormack, Vice President of Mobile Sales and Strategy from the Weather Channel. I manage a national sales team that sells our premium mobile inventory to ad clients.
I'm Ned Newhouse. I'm Director of Mobile Business Development for Conde Nast. I'm responsible for our 22 brands, strategically and operationally, bringing them to the mobile web, whether it's a mobile web app, mobile tablet, or magazine digital edition.
Dave DeRobbio, so I'm a Senior Director at NBC News Digital. So think of NBC News Digital as everything that NBC News broadcast represents. So Today's Show, so being Today.com, MSNBC.com, Nightly News, Morning Joe. So we have, we're part of the JV between Microsoft and NBCU on the news side. So I actually sit in Microsoft offices and work a lot with the Microsoft digital ad sales teams, but also work a lot across the street with John Kelly and the broadcast sales division of NBC News Broadcast. So from our posts, we see a lot. We see a lot of broadcast. We see a lot of digital, and I'm responsible for also driving the mobile portions of all of our digital ad sales.
Hi, Scott Bender with IGN Entertainment. I'm the VP of Sales and Business Development. And if you're not familiar with IGN, we're the leading web property for game information and reviews. Also, we include Ask Men, which is our men's lifestyle property. We have a YouTube channel that we just launched called Start, UGO and 1UP, GameStop.com, Family Guy Online, and just also most recently, if you're a gamer on Xbox, our just launched Xbox app. So check it out. Great to be here.
Great, thanks, guys. So you guys are all in a interesting position relative to mobile, because a lot of the big things in mobile are mobile-only games, whatever. You guys are all big, large, traditional publishers, and you have audiences across that span different channels. So I'm curious to kick it off, and Scott, why don't you start? What's the percentage of your audience that is mobile, the digital part of your audience that's mobile?
It's about 20-25% right now, and growing. And it varies by property, where it's a little bit higher within our Ask Men property, and then within IGN it's a little bit lower. But and certainly we're seeing the trends, it's growing.
So we've got about 55 to 60 million uniques on the desktop and about 10 million uniques on mobile. Duplication is about 45% non-duplication, so 55% unduplicated reach there between the mobile and the desktop. We've got about 20 phone apps across various phones, and we've got 5 iPad apps. So, we're constantly looking to obviously drive more individual mobile usage and reduce that or lower or higher that unduplicated reach number.
Okay. And when you're answering this, think about, is engagement different in mobile as well? When you think about the percentage, is engagement higher, lower, same?
For us, we're about 25% of our audiences are mobile, but the audiences are very different. Teen Vogue is a much more portable smartphone audience, whereas Vogue is a much more glamorous, they want to see it on the iPad. So we have to strategically address where we put our content, how we invest, and with 22 brands between Wired and Teen Vogue and the New Yorker, where do you put your resources against, whether it's content or whether it's a paid app? Because we have 22 paid apps, along with 10 digital editions, along with 10 mobile websites. You have to strategically analyze how your audience sucks up, absorbs content, and how that you want to interact with them and how advertisers want to interact with them.
Yeah, and at Weather, we actually have the majority of our digital consumption happens on the mobile platform. It seems that this local personalized weather forecast has become a killer app on the mobile device. So we're fortunate to be in the middle of the mobile revolution, as they say.
Great. Which leads to an important next question. So when you look at recent data showed that roughly 22% of media consumption is happening in mobile devices, but yet that same data showed that roughly 1%, or it's actually a little bit less than 1%, of the spend is happening in this environment. And I know we're all here to talk about that, but I'm curious as to, from each of your vantage points, how are you guys looking to close that gap and to really grow the mobile revenue channel? Pat, why don't you start?
Yeah, I mean, from the weather standpoint, I think we've gone to market under the mantra of trying to make mobile easy, because we know as marketers, mobile can be very difficult. It's inherently complex. There are a ton of technologies and form factors, and when you want to try to run a campaign as a marketer across the mobile platform in order to have scale, it's very, very difficult. So we're 150% in on mobile as a business for us. We're starting to think of ourselves as a mobile-first company. And so we've put the resources behind mobile to help make it easier for our clients. So that means creative support, transparent reporting, automation, a one-stop shop, things of that nature.
For us, I think we have 5 tenets. Again, it's about making it simple. We want to make it easy for the marketplace, both from an execution point of view from our salespeople to our publishers, clearly to our advertisers. The 5 ways are, I think Add Marvel is a key tenet to us. So we can have a single SDK that we don't have to load up our websites with, and then play with 20 different SDKs where you can BYOC, bring your own creative. We've made all our sizing uniform across all the mobile websites, across the tablet, across the apps. We've made our pricing the same, so you can pick and choose. I want GQ along with details. And then we have our Conde Nast studio, our in-house agency. So we have agreements with Crisp and Seltra and Medialets and Goldspot. Some of them have a self-service tool, which reduces the cost and burden to advertisers, as well as the speed, or they want a full service solution. So we're integrating where we're producing content, advertising content on the magazine, on an app, or on a tablet. And then the 5th way is setting expectations. Understand what they want to get out of it. Chia Chen, the SVP of Digitas Mobile, I think says it best. You have to create mobile moments. What in that brand resonates at that moment with that individual that's getting to the bus, that wants to see a message? What's going to inspire them to click or take action on an ad unit or a creative unit?
So I think that's great. I'll kind of pile right onto that. So, I mean, obviously in our business and what we do is, content's king. And for NBC News, I mean, having all of that content, all those assets kind of at our fingertips to put on desktop, to put on mobile, on tablets, wherever is key. But I think it's, creating, like you just said, that mobile moment. So yeah, that's fine. You can go to the nightly iPad app, or you can go to the Today Show iPhone app and get the same tidbits and maybe a little bit more in terms of video that you'd see on the Today Show in the morning. But it's that extension for something like Today Food. So Today Food's, I guess you could call it a franchise that Unilever works with us on, and they own all the Today Food kind of segments on Today Show and broadcast. And I'm sure you see those segments where they cook something and they cook it in 2 minutes, half the time a lot less time it would take to really cook it. Then we kind of drive you digitally to a desktop environment where you can actually see really the full thing cooked. And obviously Unilever owns all that content and some sponsored content there. But then what about the recipe, right? So then it's that mobile moment when you're actually in the supermarket and you can actually get that recipe on your phone as part of Today Food. So I think, that's how we the content's there. I think that's how we look to grow it. Aside from, obviously, the tactical things we do day in and day out, and that's, hey, you asked for a plan, we put mobile on this plan, and I think 50% of the time, more or less, you get a hey, take it off, or hey, that's fine, we'll keep it. So I think there's those tactical buckets that we put things in, but then I think it's really growing those, great phrase, mobile moments. That's, in our opinion, how we're going to continue to drive usage.
Scott?
Sure. I think for us, it's three things. Yeah, and I agree with what everybody just said. First, of course, it's tactical, make it easy. Just like with digital in general, that's the only way we're going to grow this space, these platforms, is doing it that way. But we're also looking at it from two different ways. One is, I think beyond the making it easy, the standard ad units for now, and hopefully growing budgets in the business, into the space overall. You look at, as a game and information site, we're very excited about mobile. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Again, just intuitively, logically, when you talk about gaming information and guys, and it is mostly guys right now, they're out there in their Xboxes and PS3s, the ability to give them codes, cheats, reviews, information on their mobile device versus, having to go log on, which is what they had to do, and then get the information, that's powerful, and that's an interesting opportunity. So we're excited about that, and certainly, our mobile traffic is bearing that out. But the other thing is, whether it's these mobile moments, or I kind of prefer engagement moments, there's a real opportunity, I think, that we're just scratching the surface, and it's getting away from the easy stuff, and it's looking at just ways we can kind of just push this platform. Within our world, it's, you look at where things are right now with downloadable content on the consoles and gaming, and of course, that's a big part of the ecosystem right now with mobile gaming. There's an opportunity there, not just from an e-commerce standpoint, and to help game publishers move their titles and make money, but also for brands to get involved as part of that process. Something they couldn't do before. If you remember the early days of gaming, it's like you didn't have 9 months. If you didn't have a 9-month lead time into getting something into a disc, you really couldn't be a part of that marketing opportunity. It's different with mobile, just as the same with downloadable content. The other thing is, I said 3, but maybe it's 4, but something that we're looking real seriously at is discovery and curation. Meaning that in our world with gaming, it used to be that guys would pluck $60 down to get a game, and it was a big commitment level if you're in that 18 to 34 demographic range. It's different with mobile gaming. It's 99 cents, it's $1, $2, many times it's free now. So it's almost like things have changed. It's not hard to find games, but it's hard to find the right games, and it's very hard for developers to be discovered, as you can tell with just the thousands that are out there, ever growing. The cost of entry so easy. So we see an opportunity to kind of be a bridge there, and again to bring consumer brands, let them be part of that process, almost as you're seeing now with music in terms of brands providing curation as well.
Cool. So those of us who have been in digital for a long time remember the days, 10, 12, 13 years ago, where the big promise was cross-media channel packaging, right? If you had TV assets or you had print assets, it was about, we're going to bring those advertisers and those packaging, those positioning into web. And now we're starting to see some of that same buzz when it comes to mobile, sort of the cross-channel packaging. So my question here, and I won't start anywhere, just whoever wants to answer it, but is that really, are you doing it, and is it really happening successfully?
Yeah, I mean, at Weather, we see that most of our, I would venture to say 8 out of 10 mobile media buys include another screen. So for us, mobile is an access point for the campaign, but it's not the only channel on which marketing works. And so, that's being a cross-platform media company. That's one of the the messages we take to market, and the benefits of working with the Weather Channel is you get access to all 4 of our screens at significant scale. I think across our screens on a monthly basis, you can reach essentially 1 in 2 Americans, 150 million people. So we bring that power of scale to our clients. In fact, we've studied that when a client uses 2 or more of our screens, the effect on their brand metrics, we've studied the brand impact, goes up by disproportionately by 7 times the value of one platform, and then to 21 times the value of one platform with 3 or more screens. So cross-platform really works, and we're starting to see the data that backs that up.
Great. Anyone else?
Just from an NBC perspective, having the benefit of having just again the broadcast entity that's so powerful. Having Rachel Maddow host what she calls viewing parties. I don't know if anyone watches Maddow here, where literally she encourages people to take out their iPads and slam in questions live while she is literally on air. So encouraging, or it's Chuck, or Chuck Todd, and you'll see a lot of this during the elections. We just launched a new politics app, NBC Politics. Go get it if you don't have it. But him actually using that app live in broadcast to dissect analytics into state primaries and so on and so forth. That's truly living and eating and breathing and sleeping kind of hey, it's one thing to talk about it, but let's give it to our on-air talent. Let's have them banging around, and then let's make sure that we drive everybody to do what they do, because it's all functional and it all really works. So I think that's just one part of it, but that's one of the good aspects of cross media, having that cross available to you.
And are you getting advertisers to consistently buy the cross channel, or is it unique advertisers by channel?
Yeah, we are. With the larger packages, whether, like I said, I talked about Today Food, something like Today Money with Bank of America, something like the NBC Politics. Those mobile extensions make sense, and quite honestly, we'd probably scratch our heads if we had advertisers say, "Hey, we want all this, but to take the mobile out of it," because you really, it doesn't make sense without the mobile or the tablet piece of this. It just doesn't look right. So, and we haven't had that happen, luckily. So.
We've used snap tags and QR code issues where we have 20% penetration rates with the right psychographics. So Teen Vogue and Lucky have used effective snap tags to drive in store. We also use a partner Spiderlink for a snap tag program with Glamour during Fashion Week, in which Shop the Look, in which I could look at scan that image and find actually where to buy those products. We also leverage our cross media across devices to have 4-screen media, and we've also recently just hired Dawn Ostrov, who's the former president of CW. We plan on leveraging our brands in a greater way. So we have the Vogue Awards, we have GQ Men of the Year. So we're extending our platform back into traditional media.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I would just say, we're, like everybody else, I think beyond the first tactical, making it easy, impressions streaming across, which I really think, at least for the short term, is how we're going to see the growth that we're all looking for. We're taking various sponsorships, whether it's various tentpole events that we do, whether it's New York Comic-Con or E3, and giving people streaming opportunities that extend to mobile devices, voting, things like that. We tie that into the sponsorship. Like everybody's talked about, you're using this platform in a different way than what we're talking about with desktop, and I think that's the key. Beyond, again, the making it easy part that we need to do for our agency partners and clients.
Yeah, I mean, one of the benefits of the cross-platform multi-screen approach is it's just allowed our clients to get to the right user with the right message and the right state of mind. So the context really matters, and so we've picked up on trends like consumers prefer to use their tablets in the evening, so we've developed companion tablet applications for our primetime television shows, and so that's a way to connect live television with the tablet experience in a companion way. That's been a pretty powerful platform, and so I expect we'll do more and more of that in the future.
Cool. So the other hot topic that we generally talk about, I don't know in this setting as much, but generally and from a mobile specific point of view, is standards or lack thereof, right? And so I'm curious to ask each of you kind of, what do you think the standard should be?
I'll grab this one. I think we loaded Ad Marvel at the right time because the MMA 2.1 standards came out in January, and we picked two sizes on the smartphone. So it's a 300 by 50 or it's a 300 by 250, and the tablet is 460.
Traditional banner.
Yeah, traditional banner side that can work on both web and tablet, and then we did a full screen. So that's it. We've made it as simple as it can be.
I think we're always kind of playing this especially with HTML5 out there. We're always playing this. We're designing apps, or are we pushing people to the mobile web? And I think so. Both of those scenarios have a lot of different answers to that kind of question of standards, and we don't know where it's going to go. We're continuing to produce apps. We'll continue probably with that strategy, and there are some just amazing apps out there that you probably wouldn't be able to duplicate on a mobile web experience. So I think it really kind of depends on what you're doing. I think Windows 8 is going to bring a whole nother dynamic to what we do, and again a whole different set of kind of advertising aesthetics and rules that we're going to have to play by. So it really varies by almost, and I guess that's the standards. I guess that's probably the bad thing is that it varies by kind of what you're designing and what you're doing.
Exactly.
I just think, I don't know, I think for the short term and IGN has specs that are consistent with what Ned talked about. I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's none of the above right now. For the future, for the long term, let's face it, it's the same battle that we've been dealing with on the desktop of these units, and dealing with clients, brands, agencies who are like, you know what, this isn't that effective. This isn't really telling us our story. I don't think we've found it yet. We've done a little bit. I think we've gotten a little bit closer with some of the interstitials that are out there, video executions, but kind of getting back to what we talked about earlier, that this is a distinct platform with a distinct engagement opportunity. It's we could talk about it, and I think hopefully everybody agrees that hey, short term, in order to kind of move the ball forward for this next fiscal and to kind of keep this space growing, yeah, let's all agree on these units and these pixel sizes. But you know what? I don't know. It just feels like it's still not there. I think it'd be interesting. Would we all envision, I guess, the space as it is today, 10 years ago? Like when you think about what the smartphones are doing and the type of engagements that are out there, or this entire app universe that I'm not sure even Apple envisioned when they first launched the iPhone. I just feel like we're still not quite there. I think the standards that we're all looking at right now are a good short-term answer, but it's not where we need to be.
Yeah, that's fair. So here's a different one, but on sort of a similar thing, which is think about data and location. Right? These are two kind of things that are, data is very important from a sales standpoint from the PC side. Everyone has great data, and then now locals become a really important part because it's a data point. It's also a way to target and sell against. How do each of your organizations look at that, and are you leveraging third-party data providers, just leveraging all your own data? What's the approach there?
Yeah, I can jump in there. So local for the Weather Channel is a really, really important part of our business because it started on cable television 30 years ago. Actually, about last week we had our 30th anniversary as a cable network, and somebody had the vision way back when that if you can tailor the content to a user's location, at the time it was based on the head-end address in the cable network, that Local on the 8s was born, and localized, customized weather content through your cable television became what people turned to when they needed weather content. And so we've seen that kind of evolve on multiple platforms, then on the web, and now mobile, which gives us the ability to essentially take location even to the next level. Maybe at the end of the question, we can watch a quick video that I brought that. Thanks for teeing that up for me, Josh. But no, location is really, really important. I think that's the promise of mobile marketing, is that what makes mobile different than other platforms in at least one way is that you've got access to a user's location, and at the Weather Channel, that users actually engage with us at a very local level. They've said, my zip code is this, or my city name is this, or locate me, and so they're engaging with us and interacting at a very local level. And so for the marketer to come along at a local level and activate there just makes a ton of sense. It's contextual, it's relevant, it's not intrusive. And so local is huge for us, that we're actually doubling down on our local investment, and you'll hear a lot more from the Weather Channel as it relates to local marketing in the future.
Do you want to go ahead? I feel like I go before you every
No.
time.
I guess one thing I'm really curious about, local is obviously very important, and clearly it's crux of strategy and opportunity with weather. What about third-party data? That's big from the PC side, obviously, for those of you selling PC as well. But it's still sort of in its infancy in terms of mobile. Like right now, there's a lot of great first-party data, especially if you're an app, you've got registration, whatever, and oftentimes you're passing it or you can target against that. But I'm curious as to anyone doing anything combining kind of first and third-party, or are you even doing first-party?
Certainly gotten pitched by companies that can support this bridge from their data packet to what mobile is, but it's something we haven't looked at. But I'll stir the pot a little bit. So that company, Apple, they know exactly who we are. They're not being good data partners to share what people are doing on that device. And it clearly behooves them, I think, to engage back with us so we can talk a better story about how people are using that device, how to play with that device, not give up personal information, but in aggregate, I think it stands to their benefit to make apps work better and smarter for the user, as well as what you advertisers want, which is localized and personalized engagement.
It's a challenge, you know, I'm sure, like all of us, like everybody, we're talking to various providers, and we're still having our challenges within, you know, the PC desktop world. Many of our properties are not registration based, so that it provides its own challenges as far as data collection. But yeah, you know, the iOS platform is, you know, it has its challenges in terms of, you know, how much data can you gather, and it's, you know, but it's the only game in town. It's a great game, it's a great platform, but you know, this is how you have to play. So it's, you know, figuring those things out, having, you know, I think finding the proper solution that could commingle the data that you're doing on a PC desktop basis and bringing it to mobile. You know, there's some one-off solutions that are out there. There's some stuff that you're doing in terms of just driving traffic, but we haven't gotten there yet. I mean, honestly, we're at a place right now just trying to figure out functionality, and with the, you know, media play, we just talked about ad standards. I think data hopefully will come soon, but it's not there.
And I think obviously the elections is kind of our Super Bowl, at least from the MSNBC side of things. So we're entering the months before kind of all this is about to happen, and it's a really exciting time. And yeah, there are there's some super PAC money out there that wants to reach you on a device that you have. So it's funny, just kind of the form and function of what we do has put us in a position where we're constantly being asked, you know, to get better at targeting locally, and we're starting to look into it. But if you think a lot about, again, what we do from reporting news, and you think about it from an election perspective, you know, we're constantly kind of trying to wrap our heads around, you know, and working with companies and how we get better at targeting people in the right way at the right times with the right messages.
I'd just like to add that the onus and the opportunity can be with the advertiser. Give the consumer a good reason to share data, and I get a benefit because then I can go to my local, I don't know, sporting goods store and find a deal that's there. So you're leveraging my relationship to my personal device to get me to go in store. So, you know, all that data aggregation stuff, I've seen it on the web, it's fine, but you marketers sell product. You have a great opportunity to personalize an ad opportunity that resonates with them, and that's what drives people to open up their wallets.
Well
Just,
said.
if you don't mind, Josh, I'll just jump in on the concept of third-party data. So back to the tying third-party data and local together. So one of the products that we've got a brief video on that I'd love to show is called hyper-local targeting. And so we actually use third-party data to help us profile not people, not individuals, but specific locations. So we use a company called PlaceIQ, and they've done a really fantastic job of aggregating publicly available third-party data to understand when a user is standing with their phone in a particular location on a particular day at a particular time, they're likely to fall into a certain audience category, because you can infer through the user's location and the day and time who they're likely to be. And so it's given us a really powerful way with use of third-party data, no first-party data, because all of our users are anonymous currently on mobile. So we actually use location to infer who they're likely to be, and it's given us a chance to take our 30 million monthly uniques on a mobile platform on a monthly basis and laser target them based on audience characteristics. So do you mind if we fire up the video? In the spirit of an upfront, we figured we'll share some product. Where does the video play?
I think it might play right behind you.
The Weather Channel is the world's leader in location-based service, and our mobile platform is Action. We are weather, we are local, and this spring, we go hyper-local. We'll be rolling out first-to-market technology that delivers targeted messages to a uniquely focused audience in our premium environment. Hyperlocal technology pinpoints delivery to consumers and creates a more personal connection. Here's how it works. Once implemented, we'll be able to analyze location data and understand what type of consumer is at a specific place at a specific time, down to a city block. When they check the weather, we can serve them a specific targeted message. And why do you check the weather? To plan. You have something to do. You come to the Weather Channel with a purpose. So we're talking about 27 million engaged mobile users in planning mode, right place, right time, being served a hyper-targeted message in a trusted environment. That's hyper-local on a massive scale. That's what weather can do. Local is our business, and now we go hyper-local. For an audience as relevant and as targeted as the weather, there's only one destination, the Weather Channel Mobile.
That was a nice plug.
Yeah, so yeah, sorry for the shameless plug, but no, I mean, I thought in the spirit of an upfront, you know, it would be interesting to share like where we're investing our time and money on the mobile platform and what's important to us. So hopefully that's useful as some context of what's available in hyper-local targeting.
Yeah. No, I mean, PubMatic definitely firmly believes in local and location as a core kind of buying parameter focus in the future. So it's great to see. So I'm curious, when you think about, or you guys are all in the market, what's hot? Like, what are you seeing that you're really excited about? You know, try to make it something that's outside of your organization, because I'm sure we're all super excited about everything we're doing. But what have you seen that you're like, that is something I think we need to adopt, or we're thinking about, or that's really going to change things? Whatever, maybe you want to start down there, Scott.
Sure. I mean, outside of my organization, I guess a couple things. One is just from a marketplace standpoint, and the folks that are in the room from agencies and clients can maybe validate what I'm saying, but I think we're getting beyond just, you know, experimentation into actually, you know, we're seeing more conversations where mobile is tied to the plan. It's part of the plan. It's part of the communication strategy. So that for us is really exciting, and maybe you guys can confirm that. The other thing is, I just think, is just the elements of social, and it's not just one app. And I'm not going to talk about gaming right now, but it just, you know, whether it's in photos, videos, you know, you read about obviously Instagram's recent acquisition by Facebook, but I think we're just kind of scratching the surface there. So it's, you know, I think it's that, and I just think on an overall basis, the cost of entry for apps, you know, if there's a term skinny apps where it's a smart app, but it's not a giant production, an opportunity for a brand to be a part of that, whether it's gaming or something else, I think there's an interesting opportunity that we've seen the opening of the app economy, you know, in the last year or so. Now I think there's a real interesting opportunity for brands to be a part of that. You know, under the guidance of publishers, you know, as we learned back with the desktop, you know, brands trying to be their own media company sometimes can be a challenge if they don't have the right play. I think there's a real interesting opportunity for brands to be part of this app world. And kind of getting back to what we talked about before with engagement and mobile moments, it's like you look at this stuff, you look at the possibilities within mobile and providing some sort of utility for somebody. It's a true engagement, you know, mobile moment where all of a sudden a brand is not just throwing in X number of pixels into the ad unit. You know, it's suddenly they're providing some sort of utility. It's currency. They're giving something back. There's a value proposition besides just their message that they can provide. So I think, again, we're just kind of scratching the surface there, and I think it's going to be exciting over the next couple of years.
I got this app the other day that emits a high-frequency sound so mosquitoes go away, and I downloaded it, and it didn't work. But so I wanted to say that was the thing that really got me excited about the mobile marketplace. No, but seriously, all the checkout stuff to me is mind-boggling. I just think, you know, from a mobile standpoint, you know, a mobile wallet is just, you know, between identification, payment, everything, you know, basically this hamburger that I carry around in my back pocket is going to kind of go away, which would be great, and my back will thank me for it. So so I think that's pretty unbelievable. And then getting back to what you said, there's something called Survey Swipe that's out there. So getting people to provide information and it's almost like a wallet type of scenario, getting people to provide opinions or information in return for some sort of mobile currency. So perhaps the next time you go to download an app, it might be free based on getting people to tell you certain things about themselves. In a way, currency, but I think that's kind of a unique twist on information in the app space.
This device is a global game changer for us as marketers. There are 1 billion smartphones in the world now. There will be 5 billion. More people will have this than will have running water. This device, you can't live without, right? Goes down, BlackBerry goes down, the world goes into a crazy. The campfire marshmallow man comes out. You know, the opportunity, you know, we stuck with GIF ads that gave a marketer one choice. Did that resonate with the consumer? Now with a mobile ad, you can have 7 choices. You can view a video. You can put in your zip code and receive local information and make it personal. You can buy something. You can swipe through a picture and a collection. You can make a brand have gamification, so I can play around with Geico, and it resonates with me. And this goes back to the roots of marketing, making it personal and make that brand remember in my brain, so when I think of buying insurance, I'm gonna buy Geico. So this, for us, is gonna come. I think it deserves to be on every plan. And youth today, this is what they get, and they're not watching a lot of TV. So it's sort of like, if you're a TV buyer, would you just buy broadcast or would you buy cable? This is 24% of our audience today, and you gotta go resonate with them.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that, and I think what's really interesting, and this is just a personal observation, I know mobile video is really exciting to me. I think we're like at the beginning of this tidal wave of mobile video. I know in my house that, you know, so much of the video that's consumed by my family happens on other devices, other connected devices that aren't televisions, and it happens on the iPad and on the iPhone and on the iPod Touch and everything besides the TV, essentially. And I think we're really at the beginning of that trend, and so mobile video is something that's really interesting to me personally, and then to us at the Weather Channel. And then I'd also just kind of throw in a quick plug for a Windows Phone. I think this year could be an interesting year as we see the development of Windows as a mobile platform, and so WinNate and Windows Phone I think are places where as a company we're investing a lot of resources, and we're hopeful that in the world of smartphone technology platforms that it becomes a 3-horse race with Windows. And what I've seen and what I've used has actually been really pretty good.
So you're saying BlackBerry is no longer in the race?
I don't know, you can conclude that maybe.
So I think we're down to probably like 5 or 10 minutes. So I thought it'd be a good time to open up questions to the audience. Anybody have questions here? A lot of you guys are buyers. Want to know kind of why people aren't making certain decisions.
When you mean social TV, like, give me. I mean, obviously we have social is integral to everything that we do from everything content perspective. But give me a little more context.
So I've been hearing a lot about apps that are created specifically for specific loyal audiences. Say, one of your MSNBC shows where, the percentage of people going onto their apps and their iPads at the same time as they're watching TV, capitalizing on that and having an app created just for a specific program where people interact with other fans, and there's different things that add value to kind of, from an advertiser's perspective, get them on the TV, get them on the iPad,
right.
and so forth.
So we've got a bunch of different strategies around that. Right now, so some of our franchises, like if you look at Today Moms, if you look at Today Foods, I think both of those from a Facebook perspective have about 50 or 60,000 likes. We do a lot of communicating and connecting to our users via those platforms, and I'm going to say majority, under 50%. A lot of that stuff happens on mobile, on phone, believe it or not, and a lot of that's from actually watching or seeing things on a tablet or a phone, and then actually connecting up to that Facebook page via mobile device. So we can see a lot of that happening. We haven't gotten to the point where we're doing, so people are communicating back and forth via those platforms. We haven't created anything that's just indicative. So nightly news doesn't have within the player or the app, doesn't have anything where people can actually talk to each other. They can provide comments, but they can't actually go back and forth and have a conversation. But I think it's a great thing, and it's probably the next evolution of what we'll do on the social side of things.
So while we're asking another question.
All right, another question up here.
So
Hang on.
Moderator,
You
on
guys
that
went the
note.
questions early.
Yeah, sorry.
On time, I love it.
So on that note, if you think about like Facebook Connect, and some of you are doing it in some of your properties, some are not, but when you leverage Facebook Connect from a user standpoint, that's where you're creating some third-party, first-party data, whatever you want to call it. Have you guys ever explored any of that to leverage within the experience, to create more social experience within the?
Yeah, we have a Facebook integration directly through Connect into our weather smartphone app. So people can post to Facebook, their comments about the weather, good or bad. So yeah, I mean, Facebook's and their Connect platform is.
Are
the
you
way to go.
leveraging the data you can pull from there from having that connection?
Admittedly, not as much as we should. So we get that data back, but we're not currently using that to target ads.
Okay.
So, but that's an opportunity.
I wasn't sure if that was the question, but that was, and that came up in my mind, so. Any
Question right
question
there.
here?
Hi, this is, I think probably another question about, it goes to NBC and weather. I noticed, because I'm Melissa Harris Perry fan, that she had immediately a hashtag. So how much are you guys prepping for those kind of things? I mean, this goes back to the conversation and social part of it, which is, because I watched the hashtag is Nerdland, and she integrated that almost immediately into her conversation. And how much of that, maybe all of you guys can kind of answer that, how much of that are you planning for, and how much of it is just, good luck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as directly involved in how that stuff gets planned, but I know, the topic of weather as a conversation topic is part of, it's the consummate water cooler discussion that everybody sort of reverts to, and so we've seen ourselves as an enabler of that discussion in all social platforms. So social, at its foundation is part of everything we plan for, and it actually helps save lives in certain situations. Hurricane Irene last summer, our social platforms were critical to getting the word out, to people who were impacted by the storm. So, yeah.
I mean, we love the fact that every personality that we have, every reporter, every journalist that we have, can use that broadcast medium to kind of put out their hashtag and all of a sudden have people following them and receptive to what they're saying. From the editorial side of things on just digital, so the writers that don't have faces, that aren't, broadcast entities, to create organic traffic to our sites, we're almost using that same strategy. We want every writer. We hired a guy named Wilson Rothman to do our tech reviews. So we're starting to go out in the marketplace and pick people that we think are experts in their field, but also allow people to follow them. So that's kind of inherent when you're creating content. If you can create a following that goes along with the person that's creating that content and writing that content, you create a group of you create a loyal audience that is then open to that community that personality or that writer kind of extends of themselves. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, it's something we need to think about with everybody now. But I think it's interesting when you think about it, the people who don't have a broadcast. You just think about the writers in general. That's the most organic part of it.
I mean, I'm just a follow-up is, almost everybody in Jimmy Fallon's staff actually is on Twitter at this point.
Right.
So there's a sort of like, you can actually be famous by association.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, from a game, we're not saving lives within video games. We're taking up a lot of people's time. But when you think about, in a good way, when you think about social and games and guys and, in putting up topics of games, whether it's Call of Duty or or Crisis, it's guys want to chime in. To answer your question, I think for everybody, I know from our side, we don't plan it enough. We need to do more of it because there's a real opportunity. And kind of getting back to the social questions, when you think about gaming, there's an identification that's out there right now for gamers that we're not utilizing enough, and that's guys' gamers tags, whether they're on a PS3 or Xbox. There's a real opportunity there for folks to have conversations while they're gaming. So some interesting opportunities both in gameplay in terms of talking and beyond the headphones and talking trash, but also the opportunity for, hey, I'm doing this right now. I'm playing this right now. If you go into Twitter and put the topic of any type of game, chances are you're going to have a whole stream of can't wait to play this tonight. I'm playing it right now. Whatever the case might be, I can't believe IGN gave those guys that review. Whatever the case might be, it's an interesting opportunity, but we're just getting started.
Great. At this point in the evolution of mobile advertising, supply way outstrips demand. Can you all comment on the average size of the buy? From what I hear, marketers are more excited about building an app than they are buying ads. And what's going to change that?
I think we're out of the build an app and they will come phase, where that's really where a lot of the marketing dollars were. I think the packages that we've set up that are 50,000, 100,000, 150, or some other customized mix that has interactive and mobile as part of it, is getting people's feet wet into it. I think that they're realizing, I think the best thing that can happen is that all those forms of mobile engagement that can transpire, where you're giving people 7 choices, not just one, can have a back to the future effect on HTML5 ads within the web. So they're no longer this flat, one-dimensional message, oh, it didn't resonate with me, the ad didn't work. I think that we can really we can help marketers get the fact that people are hungry for information that resonates with them, and that's what a broader view of an ad unit can do. So I think mobile budgets, and for that matter, PC budgets, will come back to the future with better advertising.
I want to chime in on this one as well. So PubMatic is an interesting place in the ecosystem where we've got, we're publisher-side platform. We have, what I would tell you is that supply is constrained with really high-quality publishers, by and large. I mean, granted, there's more engagement, it's growing, the budgets aren't as huge, so it's not as great as, say, on the PC side with some pubs. But if you're going into kind of highly social, gaming, utilities, that's where you're seeing billions of impressions, and that's where the supply is way outstripping demand. So I think it really does come into, when you have really high-quality publishers that traditional advertisers want to be associated with, I think it's less that sort of supply-demand equilibrium, so to speak. It's much more balanced in those environments than it would be for a highly gaming-oriented, where they're doing virtual currency and they've got 25 billion impressions a month. So I think that the story's kind of gotten out of hand a little bit, and it's going to come back more so in the next couple of years as budgets grow and as people start engaging with mobile in general.
Okay, any other questions? Going once, going twice. One over here, Tim, you got in right before I hit that hammer.
Hi, do you see Facebook as a barometer for mobile at all?
As far as
question.
them building a mobile ad product, or do you think, as far as driving traffic to mobile? I think Facebook has had trouble with advertising, period. You'd have to ask them. It's their thing.
You mean like as a barometer in terms of when we see people consuming our content or commenting on our content or commenting on someone or one of the personalities or reporters on Facebook, but then on Facebook mobile as opposed to just Facebook.
Well, social's been the second
Right.
big breakthrough after digital and search. And now, of course, from there, since Facebook promises a very big mobile application with an advertising platform, do you think that that's going to, when they get there, is that going to really break open the floodgates for mobile overall?
Kind of like iAd
Yeah.
did for mobile,
Yeah.
right? You're saying like when, yeah.
To break open the platform for everybody.
Yeah.
You look, Facebook's a platform, first and foremost. And if you look at the fact of what brands are doing right now, what publishers are doing right now, in terms of the ad opportunities, we're just getting started. So it's an interesting question, meaning if they break out their mobile platform, will that open it up in another ecosystem for publishers, if I'm understanding? I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, on one hand, I kind of think, when I first heard your question, I kind of thought about it. It's like, in a lot of ways, what we're doing right now in social within Facebook, and I don't just mean me, but I think other publishers, is kind of been a little bit of a place to do testing and kind of figuring things out from a mobile standpoint. It's this closed environment. It's all registration based. Ability to share. It's in a lot of ways, it's kind of an early version of mobile in some ways. So the question is, you know, will its mobile version, as that explodes, will that create other opportunities? You know, maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
All right, any last questions for our great panel here? All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's give them a big hand, guys. Thank you. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.